Thanks for joining me on Radio Taiwan International. You're listening to Sunny Side Up, a weekly escape from the headlines that weigh us down. I'm Eloise Phillips, and in a world flooded with negative news cycles, I'm here every Tuesday to shine a light on the quiet heroes, the breakthroughs, and the everyday wins happening right now, across the globe and in our own backyards. From innovative communities in Taiwan to heartwarming news abroad, I'll share stories that remind us hope still exists. Join me for positive news reports, guests' personal highlights from their week, and special features with local changemakers. Tune in, lift up, and let's spread the good vibes together. Keep listening to hear about wind power records, rebounding humpback whale numbers in the Arctic, and a 1-second spray to stop severe bleeding. Wind power has set a new quarterly record in Great Britain, generating 29.2 terawatt-hours in the first 3 months of 2026. Winter storms such as Goretti, Ingrid and Chandra drove strong output, with January alone setting a new monthly record of 10.6 terawatts. Renewables overall produced 40.3 terawatts in Q1 2026, accounting for 52% of total British generation, the first time the first quarter has crossed the 50% threshold. Wind led the rise, with biomass, solar and hydro providing additional capacity and displacing gas-fired output, which fell 16% year-on-year to 22.5 terawatts. On the 25th of March, the National Energy System Operator reported a new instantaneous wind record of 23,880 megawatts, enough to power more than 23 million homes. Renewable UK Chief Executive Tara Singh said that during the record period, wind supplied more than half of Britain's electricity, and that at midday, low-cost wind and solar pushed gas generation to a 2-year low, highlighting the practical benefits of the energy transition. Whales are returning to ocean regions unseen for decades, a sign of successful marine conservation, though threats like climate change, ship traffic and noise pollution persist. Humpback whales, down to about 10,000 from overhunting, now number around 80,000 per the Endangered Species Coalition. Scientists from the University of Southern Denmark, led by Olga Filatova, studied their recovery in Russia's Senyavin Strait near the Chukotka Peninsula from 2017 to 2021. They observed about 100 humpbacks switching from polar cod to krill when prey shifted, crediting the 1986 commercial whaling ban and the species' dietary flexibility. Filatova's team noted humpbacks' inventive strategies like trap feeding, floating with open mouths to lure fish, and energy-efficient tactics such as bubble net feeding. Unlike fin whales that chase specific prey over long distances, humpbacks adapt locally, aiding their rebound. Melting Arctic ice opens new foraging areas with more sightings in previously unknown waters. Filatova reported increasing humpback presence there and expressed optimism for their future due to intelligence and adaptability. The revival highlights global efforts' impact on biodiversity but underscores needs for habitat protection and sustainable practices amid ongoing challenges. South Korean researchers at the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, or KAIST, have developed a sprayable AGCL powder that stops severe bleeding in 1 second by turning blood into a strong hydrogel. Stable for 2 years in heat or humidity, it suits combat, disasters, emergencies and surgeries where bandages or tourniquets fail, such as with gunshots, shrapnel or deep cuts. Developed with an active duty army major, the spray outperforms traditional methods by sealing irregular wounds without pressure. KAIST scientist Kyusoon Park said he pursued the research to save soldiers' lives and hopes it aids national defense and civilian medicine. Initial tests show promise for military kits, hospitals and first aid, though clinical trials and regulatory approval are needed. The findings appear in Advanced Functional Materials. And that's all for the news, giving us good vibes from around the world. After the break, we'll be breaking down dumpster diving with Hui Tsyr, complete with surprises that make the second part of this conversation unforgettable. So I want to get into the dumpster diving then, because this obviously it seems to go hand in hand with your theatre practice then. So for people that have no idea about dumpster diving, can you just walk us through it? What exactly is it, and what first got you interested? Like, what was your first experience in dumpster diving?
Sure. So I was introduced to dumpster diving by my partner, and dumpster diving is to go to the trash of the supermarket or any store. It could be a store that sells furniture. Basically, to collect the trash that they throw away, and that we collect them before they are sent to the recycling or trash yard.
Right. So you're not actually going to the landfill site. You're collecting them outside the bins in the around the store.
Yes, we mainly do the food dumpster diving at the supermarket. I also know people who go to the actual dump yard and collect like the electric stuff and fix them, for example.
Okay.
But we don't know how to do it. So we mainly do the food part.
Right. And how often do you do this?
Around once a week. We figure out that like Sunday normally is the best day, because during the weekend the trash truck doesn't come to collect trash. So we go Sunday evening after the store closed, and that's when is the most trash.
I see. So what kind of things? I'm dying to know what are the best things you found, or what are you especially proud of rescuing, or maybe something funny or surprising that you found?
We have found a whole turkey.
Whole turkey?
Yeah, a whole turkey.
My gosh.
And yes, it was during the winter, and we made like we treat, it's like with the whole things, like you stuff the butter inside and the whole thing, and because it's so big that we need to share it, and
of course.
we invited like the neighbors or people around the theater come and have a feast. And actually the interesting story here was that one of the guy who came was an old man who I think he's at least 90 years old, 90. And he used to go to the school in this theater before it was transformed in the 87. So the building transformed into theater 87. But he went to the school. It must have been 80 years ago. No. 80 years ago.
So it's literally come full circle back around to him. He's still gaining something from the transformation of it into a theatre.
Yes. So he was like, in this corridor, I used to bike inside the school. So he was eating turkey with us as well.
So much nostalgia for him, I'm sure. That's lovely.
Yeah, it's mainly me and Simon doing it, but other people, of course, are super happy and would help when there's like 50 boxes of strawberries where we need to.
Really?
Yeah, yesterday.
There's been that many?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And most of them were fine.
Oh, yeah, exactly. This is the issue. There is just so many absolutely perfectly fine vegetables, fruits, but because they're too ugly or something, they can't be sold in the supermarkets. And then it's insane that, people are starving on one hand and then this is happening.
Also, sometimes actually, so once we found like 20 kilos of banana in boxes where they did not even unpack it. And like, obviously, this is imported from, I don't know, like Costa Rica or very far away places. But my theory is that it might be that this banana wasn't even like too ripe. So they were like in the good shape, I would say, for selling. But my theory is that maybe somewhere else had a harvest and they need to make space in the storage. So just to just to have enough space or who knows.
It's terrible. I also used to work for a place, it's slightly different, but with clothes. And when a huge store, department store or something, when the clothes went out of season, then they would just throw them all out. And I worked for a place that took all of that clothing, maybe for a small fee or something, just because it wasn't fashionable anymore. And then they would go on to sell it to other people to recycle, basically. But yeah, so it happens in all sectors, food, clothes.
Yes, and I feel like this kind of, I call them, how do you call them? I call them border resources.
Right. What do you mean by that?
Like exactly what you talk about the clothes, and also dumpster diving, or how to live on exchange in a place. Like all of these are in a way like the in-between space where the system kind of forget, or the system doesn't really define it. So it's like the space where between the trash is thrown and between that and the trash yard.
Right. So like a liminal space.
Yeah, liminal space. Yeah.
But are there laws around this kind of property? Because I'm not sure about laws in Sweden or EU in general, but I know in the UK it's kind of legal grey zone. It's not outright illegal, but you have to be careful about trespassing on private land, especially different councils have different rules. But then in Taiwan, I know that picking things out of the bins is actually illegal under the Waste Disposal Act. So you will rarely see people actually openly dumpster diving on the streets. So I'm just wondering, is there any legal problems there, or?
So it's by law, I think it's illegal because it's the same in Sweden and also Denmark, that the store owns the trash.
Right.
And it's law, they created that because they don't want problem with people eating these trash and get sick, for example. They don't want to be responsible.
Liability, yeah.
But in all the cases, no one were so I think there were cases where people were brought to the court, but there were no cases where they were judged guilty.
Right.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't
because
be.
Everyone just think from the police all the way to the judge, I think everyone just agree that this is great.
Yeah, of course. The law needs time to basically catch up so that they don't have to go to court in the first place, really. But yeah.
Yeah, and there was a dumpster diving book that someone wrote in Sweden, and he wrote about that because we have not met police yet, but he had met, and he said, when the police came, they asked, what are you doing? And he was like, dumpster diving. And the police was like, oh yeah, I have heard about that. It's great. And then just left.
Nice. That's how it should be. Yeah. So you've never personally had problems. That's good. Is there any stigma about it? There will be some people that will feel that it's maybe gross in some way. So have you faced any challenges or pushback from these kind of people, having these misconceptions that you'd like to clear up?
I think my mom. I think it's a really different also concept. Yeah, with trash in Taiwan and here. I felt like how my mom grew up in a market, in 传统市场, the traditional market. There, what is thrown is really is really gross, and I wouldn't want to pick it neither. But for example, she wouldn't understand that the supermarket in Sweden is basically going to shopping if you're going to the trash. And sometimes they also do it on purpose so that people don't pick the trash. For example, they put yogurt on everything, or
no way.
Yeah, I have a friend who worked inside the supermarket say that they are aware, so then they try to make it so that people wouldn't want to pick it.
That's awful.
Also, but I mean that's I think the most yucky thing would be an old egg that has exploded in a dumpster. And when it's not cold temperature, then it can really smell. But other than that, yeah, so the misconception, I think I needed to I took photos of all what we found, 50 boxes of strawberries or 100 aubergine to my mom. And then she was kind of and even fresh flower. I think she was also a bit surprised. And
right.
So, but here in Sweden, I feel like most of the people just think it's great. But most of the time, people kind of don't express that so directly.
Right.
Yeah, they are they are more silent about what they maybe think that is not what they like. If it's something that I like a lot, then they wouldn't just tell me what they think.
Right, I see. Yeah. So, well, if someone felt curious but nervous about dumpster diving, what kind of gentle first step would you suggest that our listeners could do to get involved in this practice?
Well, I think I would suggest to go with people who do that, like come with us, or with people who do it regularly. Because the first time I went, I was also like, and we are going to jump inside and all that, or maybe it's a bit dirty. And then it was like through time, I get used to it. You can always wash it away and don't judge them because of how they look or how they smell. But like they are good things and
still usable.
So I don't go alone or with other people. And also you can start by little as well. Like you don't need to take like 20 kilos of banana already the first time. Even just like a few things. Once we met a guy that lived in the town where we dumpster dive. It was rather a small town, and it was really surprising because he just came with like a shopping bag, and it was as if he was just out on a walk, and we were like Simon was inside the dumpster. I was taking things from outside, and then he picked into the container, and he was like, yeah, that cucumber looks good, and then he was just like, that beer, no, not that brand. Once he felt like just a little bit of his like normal plastic shopping bag, he was like, I think that was enough for today. And then he walked away again. And we were like feeling like 10 bags because we don't live in a town. So like, I guess that is a special case where he lived next to the container where people go dumpster dive regularly, probably. So he knew.
Yeah. And I can imagine it becomes kind of addictive as well in a way. Like each time you go, it's like a challenge to find something better or more than the last time. Or
definitely. I had this birthday that we went dumpster diving, and then I was like collecting wishes from people around, like in the theater. I was like, "What do you wish for? What do you wish from the container today?" And it was like salmon, it was parmigiano, it was eggs. And then I actually, except for the parmigiano, I think there was everything else. No. There was like so many salmon that day.
My goodness.
Yeah.
It's like you're manifesting it.
I think I'm also aware that it's kind of grotesque to have those kind of wish. And it was because it was my birthday. But in general, I agree that it's addictive. But when it comes to like, I wish there's this, then it's also saying like, I realize that it's also like, I wish they throw it.
Right. Which is not what you want, really.
Of course, it's not what I want, but they do it anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I could talk about dumpster diving with you for hours. It's so interesting, and you're kind of making me very intrigued to try it myself. But I'm very aware of our time, and I really, really also want to get onto the second topic, which is equally unique. So thanks again to Hui Tsyr for taking us through and demystifying dumpster diving, a practice we can all try to reduce waste and live more consciously. So tune in next week for more global good vibes and the final part of our interview. Until then, keep exploring.